Hey everyone, welcome again to the live of ReactPlay. We feature, every month an episode from ReactPlay community. We call it ReactPlay Live. And today's topic is very special. We are going to talk about jobs, getting the first job, and things like that. So, if you are new to ReactPlay, it's a platform that actually try to educate people on learning React faster. And what we do over here is like you can go to the platform, check it out. There are a bunch of React projects you can actually look into, get inspired from, look into the code and like how they are built, or you can contribute by creating your own projects. We'll make sure that we do a proper code review of those and then we make the project public, right? So go check it out. The platform is called reactplay.io. And if you like it, please give us a star on GitHub. All right. So now let me talk a little bit about today's event. So this is part of React Play Live. The Live is a monthly program that we do from the community where we start discussing, topics of various aspects. So last time we discussed about nhost, a backend service. Now today we are going to talk about interviews. So today with us we have four developers who just cracked their job and they're kind of working in various places. So we thought like, okay, let's have a kind of very open discussion about what it took for them to get their first job, what is their preparation, how the things went on for them. And then I have a few questions I'm going to ask to them. I'm very curious about, and I have got a lot of questions from social media, like from Twitter, Showcase, YouTube community and all. So I'm going to ask, definitely try to cover all of them. If can't, really, I'll follow it up with that. And then also we'll take questions from folks who are listening it live, seeing it live. So you can also kind of post your questions in the public channel. I'll make sure that I try to cover as much as possible. Before we get started and start introduce the developers, if you want to be part of React Play Live in future, if you have any projects that you want to discuss, irrespective of whether it's on React or front end or back end, you have built something exciting and you want the world to know about it, you want the developers to know about it, your journey, or you have done something really special that you want to come on stage and talk about it, React Play Live is for that. Please follow the link that you see on the screen, live.reactplay.io. You'll get a form. Just fill it up. We'll make sure that we connect to you and we'll get you on the React Play Live in the upcoming episodes. All right. So without any further delay, let me start introducing my panelists today, my developers today. So first, I'm going to add Sachin. Hey, Sachin, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Tapas.
Great, great. So Sachin is an active community member like for React Play, and he contributes a lot. He maintains also stuff from the React Play pull request point of view, project point of view. And today we are going to learn a lot from Sachin. And Sachin, I just want to request you, why don't you introduce you briefly, like what do you do, what's your background, where do you work, and things like that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Hello, everyone. My name is Sachin, and I'm a software engineer, open source contributor, and technical writer. So basically, in my daily life, I work as a front-end engineer, and I mostly work with the React, TypeScript, and JavaScript. And knowledge sharing is my passion. So through my blog, I share my knowledge, whatever I have learned. Yeah, that's about me.
Great, great, good to know. And we have a lot of questions to ask to you and to know, like, about your journey. So next, I'm going to introduce Nisha. Hey, Nisha, welcome to React Play Live. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to all of the folks?
Hey everyone, hi Tapas. My name is Nisha Sen and I'm working as a front end developer at Micro Focus. I have recently joined the company and I have got to work with some of the new and good features. It's all development work and yeah, like I graduated at 2021 and this is one of the big company I have joined and it's a dev work, so enjoying it. Also, I have started work contributing to open source in the Hacktoberfest. So it's a great journey going on. Thank you.
Good, good. So a lot of questions to ask from your open source journey as well. Lots to know. Okay. Yeah. So next, I'm going to bring in Tejas. Hey, Tejas, how are you doing?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm doing good, sir. So, hey everyone, I'm Tejas and I'm from Bangalore. So, my journey is mostly from mechanical engineering to tech related. So, front end was something that I'm passionate about. So that's when I started learning front end probably like a year ago, and right now I'm working at Happy as a front end engineer. So that's about it.
Great. Okay, I didn't know you're coming from mechanical background to programming. That will be an interesting thing to really understand, like the journey. Okay, so
Yeah.
the last guest, today's panel is Deepak. Hey, Deepak. Hope you're able to hear us. If you can, we can't see you yet. Okay, maybe Deepak is having some technical problem, so let Deepak kind of figure it out and come back. Okay, so without wasting any time, let us kind of get started. I just want to call out one thing is like, so whatever we are going to discuss is out of experience. So we are doing some kind of experience sharing, and all the folks on the call, they are not master of everything, including myself. So we know what we know, and we are going to discuss things from what we know. So there is no judging of what we are discussing, what we are answering. And again, from audiences, whoever listening or seeing it live, I would really request that you put your thoughts, not only questions like what is your experience so far, so the things become more interactive in our case, in the discussions. All right, so I'll start with something of my story. Okay, so many years back when I was in college, I didn't get job from campus. So what I did is like I was in a state which is like far from where my first company was. I traveled, and then I started searching the job, and then I also went through certain kind of preparation, and finally I kind of cracked the first interview, fifth or sixth interview, and then got my first job. So how was it for you in terms of campusing? How was it for campusing? All of you got job in campusing, or it is like off campus kind of job that you got your first job?
So mine was mostly searching job on my own. It was since I come from a mechanical background, the only company that I could have sat for interview in college was probably TCS or Infosys. So I did not choose that, and so I got my job outside, like on my own. Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. How about others?
Yeah. So for me, I got my job from startups. There were company visited to my college, but from the start I was clear that I want to join a startup and I want to work on a technologies that I am learning. So yeah, I got my job from the off campus, and actually LinkedIn helped me to get that job.
Okay, so you basically was not interested in the campusing job because in your mind it was startup and you wanted to kind of go out, hunt for it, and get to the
Yes.
company that you wanted to be, right? Okay, so I'm
Ye-
sure that for that some kind of preparation that you have to go through, right? You're targeting a company, looking for a company, and your search area become very specific. It's not very wide open, right? So anything specific you did, Sachin, for that?
Yeah, so for that, I was not looking for specific company. I was just looking at some startup that I can start my corporate journey. So for that, I started preparing in my last semester. I started preparing for the interviews, and actually, I had given six interview before I got this job. So in that interview, so one of the most important thing that I got a lot of feedback, like how I can improve and what things I am missing, what is a basic thing that I have to work on. So that is a kind of experience for me. So that six failed interview, I take it as a critic feedback and I worked on it, and then I finally got my job.
Awesome, awesome. Good to hear that. How about it for you, Nisha?
Yeah, actually, I prepared DSA a bit, and I got it. I got a campus interview, and I cracked Capgemini. But since it was taking some time, and during that time I also did an internship. I learned React a bit during that internship, and it was really exciting. So I thought of like, how can we go ahead with this technology? But I did not get time during that. But since we had a little bit of bench period, during that time I thought of making something of my own and preparing, and that's how I got into front end. I really enjoy working with front end and creating my own websites. So yeah, that's how I cracked micro focus with front end, and now I am here.
Good, good. So I think one of the questions that I have got from Twitter, LinkedIn and Showcase and many places is like DSA. You just mentioned like you prepared for DSA. So there is a question from PJ as well, like uh, what kind of question people ask generally on DSA? This is $1 million questions. Like what kind of questions from DSA that people ask? You have any answer for that? Like, do you remember like how you prepared for DSA? Or what kind of question you were asked?
So for the campus placement, I would say like I have learned DSA and mostly on the like screening rounds they used to ask DSA, but I have not given some major interviews, so they did not ask me there. But for the front end interview which I gave at Micro Focus, they were basically focused. Like everything was over front end only and React. They specially designed some use cases, and if you ask this and that, there was no DSA asked to me for the front end interview here.
Okay, I will put some points here for this one from the interviewer perspective before I go to Deepak. So as an interviewer, when I'm interviewing, be it front end, be it a back end developer or a full stack developer, and when the DSA part come into picture, I generally don't ask people, hey, give me the definition of queue, or can you implement a stack in JavaScript, or can you implement a linked list and things like that, right? I generally don't go for asking the question that straight away. Rather, I give a problem and ask them to kind of design. And on the design thought process, I want to see like what kind of data structure that somebody is using. And then I'll be giving certain kind of problem for searching something, maybe sorting something. Then I see like what kind of algorithm that they are kind of coming up with. A very traditional example, maybe I'm just leaking my interview questions here. Like I give in general, like say car parking example. Like you have a in a shopping mall, you have the parking area. The cars are coming in, cars are going out. How do you arrange the car? What kind of data structure you're basically going to go to use to arrange the car? Across the floor and things like that. And then if you have to find a car which is situated at the parking to near this pillar, what will be your algorithm to find that car faster, right? So I'm not asking Q questions. I'm not asking linked list question, but you have to know data structure. You have to know some algorithm to kind of answer this question. So this is how I go about it. Thought of just sharing. Moving to you, Deepak. What's your journey on your first job?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Deepak and I'm a front-end developer. So my journey has been quite adventurous. I think I am among the oldest one among everyone. I completed my graduation in 2014 and then I moved to some other industries, some other jobs. But somehow I wanted to become a developer, but I could not. I had sometimes financial issues and all that, and I did not have the dedicated time to prepare. And then, but somehow I had that. No, I need to make it. So then, um, around COVID,
I think we lost him. His network connection. Okay, we'll probably wait. He's come back, so then we'll get back to him again.
am I audible to
Okay.
everyone?
Yeah, you're back. Yes, please continue.
Hello.
You're back, Deepak. Yes, you're back. Okay, I guess
Hello.
he has technical difficulties and lag. Okay, we will get back to him. So I'll get to the next question that I have is like, see, for someone who got into the first job and doing their work, whatever the assignment, I think most of you, if I see the background is like front end engineer, right? And now people who are aspiring to get a job, for them, they don't know yet what exactly happened inside the organization, right? You may be doing a lot of side projects outside, you may be contributing to open source, but the office environment, the job environment, the ask from the job should be a little bit different than what you do in your personal projects and things like that. Would you like to share some experience, like what do you do at a workplace, how different it is, what is the expectation? Anybody can go. Tejas, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So the work is mostly based on how much we are interested in. So in my company, how the process of assigning a task to a certain developer is more like they first check if the task requires a lot of dependencies from the backend or the front end or the design team. And based on that, since I am just newly joined to the company, mostly the task would be quite simple rather than having a lot of difficulties, because right now the most important thing for us as a new joinees to the company is to understand the product more than getting the task done. So that's there. And Jira, we all know. So Jira is something like you assign a lot of people every now and then. It goes back and forth a lot. So that's one way of getting things done in company.
Yeah, so you have certain amount of accountability almost daily basis, and that is the way actually you learn a lot of stuff over there. You also know how to be committed, because you have deadlines and things like that. Those are like really differentiator than doing a project which is like as a personal space. So Sachin, the question to you that I have a similar question that Prathamesh asked. You are a front end developer. Most of you are front end developer.
Yes.
The question that I want to know is like, what exactly, how in real job the front end developer, what does front end developer do? Like React, know probably Angular. What do you do? And also, if you can touch bases like how, as per your experience, what do you think? How much you need to learn to do your daily job at office? I'm sure that answer will be relative because it's based on like a type of work, but still, if you want to kind of put some light on that.
Okay. So first of all, I say learning is a continuous process. So it's not that like I know everything, and if I get assigned some tasks, so basically there are things that I don't know, and I have to learn that thing basically. So this is the first thing. And in day to day, so basically how we handle it, like we use GitHub in our organization to basically keep track of the task and who is the assigning. So the process is simple basically. So let's say I'm a front end developer, and there would be some back end developer that who is going to implement the business logic, and in the front end I will going to work on it. So in the startup, basically you get the full ownership of the task that you are assigned to, and you are accountable for that. And basically, so it's a roller coaster. So like if you sometime you get a task that is very quickly and you can done with. So what I do is whenever I get a task, I do not try to just complete it. I try to understand why they are asking for this particular task and how it will benefit the customer basically, and what I can learn from this task, because there are tasks that they can take 1 week, or there are tasks that can only take 1 day or 2 days. So if you get some task, so instead of trying to just complete it, you should basically what you do, you should try to learn from that task, and definitely you will going to learn something new every day. So
Yeah.
that's the process basically.
Okay, good,
So
good. So I think the process that you're talking about, it is also not like one-time investment, right? The more you invest your time in learning and maybe also documenting thing, it is going to help you in the future also, the future enhancements, the future issue fixing, satisfying your
yes.
clients and customers that way, right? Yeah. So okay, so that's good. I will go to another question that I got. Any of you can answer, and probably I'll add towards the end. How much CSS you need to know? You all are front end developers, right? So can you call yourself front end developer without knowing any CSS? Let me be very brutal about this question. And how much CSS do you really know? Or you use Tailwind, you use Material, or you use Bootstrap? What do you use? What is your CSS story? Anybody can take it up. This time, Nisha. I'll go to Nisha first.
Yeah, so CSS is like every. I feel front end is all about CSS. If you don't know, like, it takes time, but it's not like hit and try. First of all, when I started doing projects and stuff, so I thought of like it's an hit and trial. I used to tell my friends, okay, this is something you have to hit and trial and match those stuff. But right now I know, like, if some design has been given, I know, okay, this is a flex thing, this is, they are using grids over here, so these are 3 grid layouts. Or maybe with flexbox we can align those, something like, just we can use justify contents over here. So it's kind of a logic thing in over CSS. So it's it's a must thing, I feel. And it's and it is written, okay, we how do you use Tailwind, Material UI, and such stuff. So it's kind of, if you know the basics of CSS, I think you can achieve anything. Like you it will take you hardly one day to learn the other frameworks like on CSS, like Tailwind or Material UI. You just have to understand those stuff. So it's all about the basic CSS that you learn very nicely, with all the logics that are there for position, flexbox, grid, and such stuff. If you learn all those, I think that will help you with any like, for example, we use Material UI and Tailwind at our like for my office. I have not learned them, but right now I can understand, and I can write those code. It's easy for me for now. Like, I understood it. Let's just go and learn basic CSS very nicely.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I believe that knowing the basic is very, very important because you can jump into a framework very easily, and most importantly, you can switch from one to another. Because when you're working on in an organization, and if the organization is bigger, there are higher chances that there are different product lines or different services. They might be using a different kind of tech stack. It is not like that entire company is going to use only one tech stack. So you probably have to switch between. So fundamental is very important in this case. Good
I
thing.
think I think
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
wanted to add something, like, for example, if you are learning JavaScript, that's the basic part. If you are working on Angular, React, or anything, that would hardly take you. If you learn React, hardly it will take you one project to learn the basics and everything. But if you know JavaScript, it will be easy for you to go ahead with any of the frameworks.
Yeah,
It's same with
absolutely.
CSS.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Aritra, for a nice comment. Yeah, we'll try to keep it more informative as well. Okay, so I'll move to next question asked by Vaibhav. I think it's a great question. Hey, Vaibhav, how are you? So he asking is like, how should someone approach the bugs or problems he or she gets while developing something? I think it's a very, very good question. It's like, how do you approach fixes? Tejas, you want to take it up?
Yeah, I can actually relate to this some same scenario. I was in work right recently. So the feature that I worked on actually was quite simple, but the problem was that since that feature depended upon some other components, it was creating a lot of bugs. So basically, it was not the bugs that I created, but it was interdependent on each other. So there were quite a lot of bugs. So to approach a certain bug, or how do you solve that such problems, I would say first try to I would say reproduce that bug more and more often. So try to also get your teammates, tag your teammates along, and see if they also can reproduce it. So make sure that the bug is consistent, and rather it's not just a random bug that got tagged into you. So once you understand where the bug is coming from, and then you can look into developer tools, the sources tab. That's where it's more useful than rather going to the code and console logging every here and there and trying to see whether data is going or not. It's a better approach to look into the sources tab in the developer tool. Thereby, you don't need to like create a separate instance of the entire application or the build that you're working on, and you can easily debug your problems. So that is one thing. If it is related to a CSS bug, or mostly Java, or not specifically to JavaScript, so in that case, better you can look up Google, because Google you can pretty much find anything and everything if you give the right terms in the search tab. So that's one thing I would like to add upon on how to solve bugs.
Yeah, sure. I think that debugging is an area which is more like an art. And you actually be master of that art the more you perform, the debugging aspects. So I'm sure that all of us probably target it in a very different way. Somebody targets in some methodology, other people target in some other methodology. But I agree with you just completely. Deepak, are you back? Look like yes. Okay, you're back. Look like. Okay, so
Hello.
hey, hi, we are able to hear you. I want to talk about a little bit about the interview processes. Okay, so I'm sure, like most of us here have faced rejections. Is part of life and part of interviews. Anything that anybody want to share, like how have you handled interview rejections? How you motivated yourself to go about it? Anybody wants to share? Um, Anybody wants to highlight that? Maybe Deepak, you want to talk about it, or Sachin, you want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Yes, definitely. I think
Hi, can you
since
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We'll get to you, Nisha, after after listen from
Okay.
Deepak. Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so as I said that I am not in development. I am new, but I am not new. Like it was in my first job. So I have worked in other industries, and I have seen I have gone through the interviews. So I knew that interviews are different skills than the real working skills. So I knew just because I was rejected doesn't mean I'm not worthful. So I just took it like I just need to go through it, and I think it is true that if you keep going through the interviews, just keep giving your interviews. In initial days you are nervous, but mm, just take it a learning experience, because rejections teach you a lot, and I think we should make rejection our friends. Not we should not see it something like discouragement. Yeah.
Yeah, great points. Great points. Definitely. I think it is like very fortunate if somebody gives the interview, first interview, cracking the job, and really it's a happy life there. It's amazing. But most of us face this rejection, and it's a great point, Deepak, that you mentioned. Anybody wants to add from your interview rejection perspective, how you motivated yourself, what you have put into your process, what you have changed, so that you kind of felt like, okay, I'm going towards the success. I'll be cracking the next interview. Anybody wants to add?
Yeah, I would like to add one.
Sure.
Rejections would be more like you should look at rejections rather as a learning experience rather than just as something that you find a reason to be demotivated. So rather, I took up rejections as a challenge, or more like the rejections that I faced were mostly because of situations where I was not aware of those topics or those questions or anything else related to the tech stack. So rather than getting demotivated and not finding it interesting to take up more interviews, I would recommend everyone to like take it up and keep track of all the things that you could not answer in the interview. That way, you're also learning more than what you have already learned. So that I would like to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for adding. So when you were actually, you means all of you were preparing for your interviews, right? And you probably had different kind of goals in mind, like what I am going to learn. Someone spoke about DSA already. Someone spoke about React already. Can you be a little bit more elaborative about your preparation for an interview? So, for example, you are seeking job. You are searching for job. How do you see next couple of months, if you're targeting your job in next 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, and completely go by your perspective? You don't have to really think and answer too much. What you have done, we just want to kind of hear from you. Sachin, you want to go for it? Like how you prepared in that duration?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I learned React and JavaScript basics and all things. So I was looking for specifically a React.js job. So I applied, and I in some interview I got rejected. But the most important thing, I got the feedback from the interview, and the one feedback that you should first focus on the basics. You should first get done with the basics. So in my initial days, so what I did, focusing instead of focusing on the JavaScript basics, I directly jump into the React.js concept and started learning. So after giving 2 3 interviews, I got realized that first I need to focus on the basics, and I need to uh, work on my basic thing. So what I did, so I start working on the basic thing, like what is basically on the JavaScript side, and then I moved to the advanced part, and then uh, I took some Udemy courses, and I learned about, like there is two-way learning. One is unstructured learning and one is structured learning. So in unstructured learning, you jump between like you learn one day HTML, then second day you jump to the JavaScript, then third day you jump to the React.js. But what I did instead of going for the unstructured learning, I went for structured learning and I took the Udemy course, and there I learn things in a structured way. So basically, there are some basic for the HTML, then CSS. As someone asked, like how much CSS you should know. So there are in every technology there is one thing, the basic. So you should at least aware of the basics. And if you are knowing that thing, then in the interview you will be confident because you know things. And if someone is asking you, you will be able to answer that question. So that's the first thing. And after that, you can go in that structure learning and learn the advanced concept. And after you got placed in that process as well, you will learn daily. As I said, you will get some tasks. So in that task, there are 50% thing that you know, and there will be 50% thing that you don't know. Then you have to reach out to some people, ask for help, or you have to Google it, and you have to read the documentation. So these are the things basically.
Yeah. I'll go to Nisha. My question is little bit different apart from what you have done, but how much time you used to give yourself to prepare, right? I have got at least five questions from different places, like how much time I should give to prepare for interview, like, so you want to kind of share your experience, like how you used to do?
Yeah, I can go ahead with, for example, when I started learning front end and I wanted to give more front end interviews, so I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
I wanted to give more front-end interviews, so I started learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then with React, and I started building more projects. So more time I give into building projects, and whatever concept I used to learn, I used to apply it to my projects, and I used to challenge my so I enrolled myself in a cohort based course, and I tried to whatever challenge they used to give and whatever things I used to learn from. For example, looking at a Twitter website, so I challenged myself to implement a feature that is being there on Twitter into my own social media application, because it's my own project, so it's on, everything is my own. So if I do it easy way, then I won't learn it. So I thought of like challenging myself and doing the difficult things, so that helped me a lot. So while giving the interviews, when someone asked me any question, I used to give an example about those stuff. So that helped him understand that, okay, if she's giving example, she knows about this thing. So whatever question is there, I try to give an example about that thing. Even when I was giving campus interview also, I used to whatever I know, I try to link it with some example that helps a lot in understanding, like, okay, this person knows about these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you
So I
one
think giving
what.
example is the best solution.
Correct. I wanted to kind of repeat that giving example is a best solution in an interview. And maybe one tips for everyone who is going for an interview maybe next week is like the more time uh, you speak in an interview, the higher chances for you to get the job. The lesser time you speak and the
Right.
more time the interviewer speak, it's kind of going in other way, okay? Because and how you can make it happen, you can make it happen like the more time you want to speak, because you can actually talk about your projects, you can talk about what you have done, your accomplishment, drive the entire interview through your work. The moment you are able to do that, your chances are much higher to crack that interview, right? So this is something that I have realized being an interviewer, other side, that I get impressed with people who actually go through a lot of projects, talk about them, what they have accomplished. Yeah, this is definitely a great point. Okay, so next thing, we have a question: how to get started with open source contribution? And I want to extend that, like for any of you, open source contribution made any impact for you to getting job, getting visibility, or what exactly happened to your life? If you can share, maybe all of you, just take some moments to kind of share. I'll go to Tejas first, then Sachin, then Nisha.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
you got to be a little louder, bit soft.
Okay. Yeah. So open source contributions they did play a huge role in getting me a lot of interview opportunities. So mainly because when an interview is shortlisting your profile, what I heard from people who shortlisted my profile was that in an open source contribution, you not only learn about how to write code or contribute to the project, you also learn to how to maintain that team interaction and how you can get with the task done, how you can plan out with your team with the new people, how it's more like if I have to say it in general terms, it's more like having building that social and kind of people skills in open source contribution rather than just writing code and creating better applications. So that's one thing that I got to know from a certain set of interviewers, that how this is how much open source contribution actually got me into the job.
Awesome. Sachin, you want to add about your open source contribution and what kind of impact it has on your career so far?
Yeah, surely. This is my favorite topic actually. So I must say I got my first job because of the open source contribution. So if you contribute to the open source project, basically you learn uh, many things. Like you learn how to observe other works and how to give feedback and basically how to work with stranger basically
Mm-hmm.
and how to work in a structured way and how to maintain things. And so you got to know like how to seek for help if you are stuck in somewhere in the open source project, like how to ask for help. So these are something that you can learn. So in one line, if I say, so like building, teaching, and all this experience can be gained through the open source contribution. So I started my open source contribution in my last sem, and I that time I contributed to only one project, but somehow I got confident that this is something interesting. So what I did, I just put one line in my resume, that open source contribution, and I mentioned that project name that I have contributed to, and because of that, my resume got shortlisted, and I got a call for interview. So actually, open source had really helped me to get the job, and still I'm contributing to many open source projects, and ReactPlay is one of them.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Great, great. Hey, Nisha, you want to add to that? You have any impact of contributing to open source so far on your career?
Yeah, I started open source with React Play only, and this Hacktoberfest I have participated in that. And what I learned is, so whenever we are working on any project, there are already some code is being written, and everyone is right. Everyone is there to participate, doing something else on the project. Same happens over the company also. That there is. Um, Hello.
Yeah, yeah, can still hear you. You can continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So same happens over company. There's a lot of code written already, and we have to learn it, and we have to see, okay, what that other person has
Mhm.
done and what I can do to make it better, or what I can add to it. Open source is also same, and it is helping me in learning others' code, how other people write it, and also some good practices on what are things to follow, what folder structures to follow. I have just started doing open source, so yeah, it's exciting to work here, like
Mhm.
knowing others code and knowing how people think, and yeah, looking into different issues are like how I got amazed with how people are people research about different issues and they post it like, okay, I want to work on this one. So that excites me a lot.
Yeah, amazing. So we'll go get back to that original question that was asked, like how to get started. I think the best way I would say, like getting started with finding out like how can you grab an open source project, which of your interest, and kind of first getting started with that one. And how do you find it? There are plenty of websites available through which you can actually search, filter based on the technology that you want to work on, whether what kind of projects those are, like, what kind of issues they have, whether there's a good first issue for you to kind of get started. I will do one thing. I will post those links into the description of this video once the live gets over, so that you can actually get to it and try doing it. And if you have hard time finding anything, please come to ReactPlay and contribute. We need a lot of contributions. We have a lot of things in the pipeline. Okay, so that is great. One other thing that came as a question about the preparation, like there are things like lit code, and Nisha was also saying that there's a code based learning. Have any of you kind of spent amount of time on solving those online problems and getting yourself ready for the interview, or making yourself more comfortable and more confident about, like you really can solve the problem? Anybody have done it? Anybody wants to share about that?
Yeah, I would like to share. So basically, I haven't tried the lead code yet. Basically, I tried problem solving on the Hacker Rank. So that is the
Okay.
first platform that I tried on. So not the perspective of the cracking the interview. Basically, I just wanted to to try do problem solving and understand like what type of question I can be asked in the interview. So with that perspective, I basically practice some problem on the hackathon, and still I'm whenever I get time or when I so I try to solve the problem in the hackathon
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, so it's not about the interview. You're saying that you have to keep yourself relevant. You have to challenge your brain all the time, and so you'll be
Yes,
keep doing that, right? Yeah.
yes.
Question to Deepak. Are you back? Deepak is having some problem with his line, I guess. I think he's not back yet. So okay, so there is one question that I'm bringing on screen. So last 1 year, I'm learning developing own projects of JavaScript, HTML, CSS, React, Node.js. Not working as a web developer right now. Passionate to be a full stack developer. How to switch? Basically, that is the question. Now, all of you are front end developers. Tejas, you're coming from a different background, mechanical engineering background, getting into the web development phase of it. How do you see, like, if you have to do this, what do you think your take would be?
So the first thing I would say is do not focus on what other people say, because just because you have completed a degree in a different background, that doesn't mean it stops you from being a full stack developer or a front end or a back end or any kind of a developer. It's all about how much interested you are in building stuff using the tech stack or in that domain. So when I started out as to learn front end development, people really did not encourage me because I was coming from a non-technical background, and moreover I did not have a lot of coding experience, and JavaScript was my first language ever to learn programming. So the suggestion I would give to anyone who wants to make a switch from any domain to the domain that you're really passionate about or want to switch right now is just go with it. Just go with it. Don't give it a second thought or anything else. First, make a list of all the resources that are available on the internet. You can go through a lot of them. Like, don't spend a lot of time spending in those resources. Just take a bare minimum time and go through the basics. Then start working on your projects. When you come to projects, it's more like you should have an idea of something that you really want to work on. So rather than, you can find a lot of project ideas on the internet, but it's more important that rather than just trying to build clones of some things, it's more important for you to add your own masala into your own project, so that it creates a different unique identity for yourself, so that when an interviewer sees your project, it's like, okay, he has taken some effort into building this project, that he has put out his heart into building this. So that would be a lot of things. But and by doing that, you're not only like learning a particular tech stack, you're also getting exposure to a lot of things that you don't learn through a lot of courses. For example, bug solving, or how you can Google issues. So that's what I want to like. to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with your points. Like you just did it completely on the point. It's like problem solving, building your own projects. That's what matters, right? So if you're aspiring to be full stack, first you need to know like what exactly what is the job of a full stack developer? What is the definition of being full stack, right? And the definition is, in my opinion, it's a bit hazy because once you're working in an organization, you are probably working on, you're somebody who is working on front end, a bit of API, and a bit of databases so that you can tweak and things like that. You can be called as a full stack developer. Great, you can be that way. Now the tech stack that you'll be working on might be completely different than what is the other person working in a different company. We're still calling them full stack developer, right? So you decide, like, on a full stack journey, what are the things that you need to bring into your full stack roadmap. Some of the things that as an outlier it comes, but very important. For example, do you think about performance of the application, right? Be it performance at the UI side or performance at the backend side. What is your understanding about authentication and authorization, right? You have to deal with it. How do you think about caching? Okay, what do you understand by scalability? So these are possibly very, the jargons are probably very huge, but what I am suggesting here is, like, at least you should have some understanding. Like, when somebody talking about it, or you're getting a knowledge transfer after joining to a company, you can actually comprehend that, you can actually understand that what people are talking about, from those perspective. So first get your roadmap correct, and then start building stuff around it. That's how you get to it, not only full stack, everywhere. So yeah, great question and great answer. I'll get to the next one. Okay, so if anybody wants to take this question, is it easy to switch from the React developer to mon stack developer? Anybody wants to pick it up? I think the answer is kind of similar, like what we have discussed just now. Is like, you started with React. Now it is for you to go one more step ahead and start something else. So it can be Mern, it can be something else. Instead of Mongo, you might want HarperDB, or you want some other DB, you want to use nhost, you want to use something else, right? So it's up to you, like what you want to kind of pick it up. Is definitely easy, probably a relative term to me, but it's something like you can make it easy by doing more projects, right? You guys agree with that thought process, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. So I relate to this question basically. So just started, learning about the Mon stack basically. So I haven't worked with the MongoDB before. So in the last month there was one hackathon going on the dev.to. I took that opportunity and I thought, like, let's say learn the MongoDB, and with the help of that hackathon, I built one application in the Mun stack. So yeah, so basically, if you are trying to switching to the Mun stack, then you have to just get done with the basics and try to build just simple apps, basically, like with the CRUD operation, and then move to the some other like advanced features.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have one question to all of you. So you started with your first job or second job right now. How do you keep yourself consistent with learning? This is a question also came from audiences before on social media. Is like they want to know, like, how do you want to keep yourself consistent with learning, or do you think it is important to keep yourself consistent with learning? Nisha, you want to go first?
Yeah, like definitely it's very important to keep you consistent. Like you should know, like for example, right now if I'm working on a feature, I see that okay, I have to write some test cases, so I have to learn this test cases. And if I can't write the test cases, it will be assigned to someone else, but that won't make your point, right? So it
Hmm.
will just doom you down. So I feel like okay, I have to learn this test cases, how to write this. I want to write it on my own, so that keeps me going. And if there is something else, for example, there was a TypeScript thing that was written, something like TypeScript that was written over a JSX file. So I wanted to know, okay, why it is like this. I have never seen Java's TypeScript variables written over JSX file. So I got to learn those things. Okay, how we can make more for security purpose. It is going to make the variable more proper. So like it keeps on, like whatever you see, just be eager to search that and keep yourself updated. And if you want to make your mark, like, okay, this is being there, I also wanted to do okay, there's also QA thing that goes on. So I was working on a feature and they asked me, okay, you have to do the QA also for this one. So I was like, I have never done it, but I went to someone and I asked him, please explain me how to do it. So that keeps you consistent. Okay, you can't say like, I don't want to do it. You have to keep on like make yourself aware of things and go to other resources and learn those things. There are like there are many resources over the internet. I even I never knew. I thought we have to pay for learning such things, but there are many free resources. Just go and learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good point. It's like you don't have to always run behind kind of buying a course or getting. So I'm not against any of this, by the way, because in future I might do a paid course that if you want to buy. So I'm not against it. But what I'm saying is like, um, if you cannot afford paying for something, you already have a lot of things free. Free code camp is the biggest example for this. It's everything free, so you can go ahead and do it. Tejas, how do you kind of keep yourself motivated in terms of learning? How do you learn new stuff?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would recommend everyone is to like have an extension, like something like a Dev2 or a Medium on your phone or on your browser tab, so that every day when you open up your Chrome or something, you get the latest trend that is going on, that new tech stack or any new technology developments that is happening in the front end or any domain that you're interested in. So that keeps you updated with what currently is going on. And other thing is that if you find yourself not so motivated enough to keep up with learning new stuff or being consistent with learning, if you're in a job, you can actually come up with an initiative to gather up your teammates. And so in our company we have a fun Friday session. So every alternative Fridays we either have a learning session or we have a team building session. So on learning sessions we end up solving CSS battles or learning or solving JavaScript problems. So it's morely taking up the more being strong with fundamentals. So that's what we do. If you're not into a job, you can find a lot of friends on internet. So in Twitter, if you just search for hashtag JavaScript, you can find a lot of people who are also learning just like you. So you can build up a network that way as well, and you can stay consistent with each other. So that's how I did, and that's how what I would like to share.
Great point. And I see, like, Akshay commented, like, he has 2 years of experience and on the React developer. Then he worked on many projects, got exposure to Web3, and now he is feeling that he should have more skill and that are in demand. And so he started with the data engineering and he's interested. So I think actually shows that, how somebody can be stay relevant, go by their interest. And one thing is very true, in your organization, this is not that organization is bad or something like that, but in your organization you will be working on a stack or a technology that is used in your organization, right? It is very unlikely that you come on the first day or you're telling that, hey, change this stack and I want to work on this something, even if it is very trendy. It's very difficult to get that buy-in, because there are a lot of business justification that you have to give to do any kind of change. Now the question comes, how do you then motivate yourself to keep learning? Even when you are actually doing a job, you are probably working on some stack and you want to learn something else. Open source. Go find a project on open source, do your side hustles. Those are the ways you can actually keep yourself motivated. Good discussions over there. There was a question about, I don't know what's your opinion on that. Are you guys scared at all about this? What do you think? Have you used ChatGPT, by the way? Have you tried it yet?
Yeah.
Yes, I have tried it, but I think it won't be able to solve the there are some real world problems basically, and there are some complex problems. So yeah, ChatGPT is kind of experiment that OpenAI is doing. So you can try it. Actually, it's fun. So it's based on reinforcement learning. So every time you ask, it will give the new answer, or sometime it will give the same answer again. So you can try it out, but coming to this question, it will definitely not going to take your job and something, because there are complex problem and real world problem that need human brain at least. So yeah.
Okay, so that's your take. Anybody wants to add to is anything that, or anybody
Hmm.
disagree with what Sachin just said? You want to add to
No,
that?
plus one to what Sachin said. So yeah, what Sachin said is actually true. It won't take your jobs away or anything. So it's think of it more like your coding partner, so which is an online partner which does not have life, but it helps you in speeding up your development. So if you're given it, say for example, you're given a task of building a landing page rather than creating on your own every tag, you can just use ChatGPT to get a template of the home page. Say you want a nav bar in the header with a logo, and you can just get it in matter of seconds. So it speeds up your development process rather than taking away your job and getting all the development done by itself. So yeah, what Sachin said was true. There are a lot of complex problems that we end up solving in jobs. So ChatGPT would be able to replace a lot of people in the real world
Okay.
scenarios.
I think it's definitely things to debate even in future. We'll see like how things happen. Um, by the way, we are at 55 minutes, so we'll go for another 5 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. And if you have more questions, we'll probably can go a little bit longer. If you are liking this session and if you really enjoying it, make sure that you like this video and you post your comments like what you were learning from it. If you have additional questions, still post it as a comment, because if you can't cover, we'll make sure that we'll come back with answers in this particular YouTube comment chat itself, right? Okay, so there is a question about remote job. All of you are working in India, right? Are anybody working like is remote from outside India? Anybody working? Anybody can add to it? Did you aspire to kind of get into a remote job kind of thing? If you have anything to add in this question, or when
Uh,
you were actually preparing for interviews, did you aspire to get a remote job and prepare for that?
so as of now, not aspiring to get a job outside India as of now. So,
Okay,
so
I
yeah.
will add few points. I'll add few points for this one. See, one thing is what finally matters for any kind of job is like they want to see like the what you are capable of, and the way that you actually showcase your capability is basically the kind of work that you have done. Now, if you don't have a job, how do you show your work? How do you show your experience? The way to do that is like you do side projects, you build projects in a structured way, and then you actually project those things in on your GitHub, like writing a good readme about it, like what you have learned from that particular project, how to set it up locally, so that anybody looking into this one is going to kind of think like, okay, you are somebody who is very serious about building things, who is very serious about learning things. You are somebody who we can actually start talking to. That's one part of it. Now, second part of the problem is like who is going to look into it, right? I've built a great project, is in the GitHub, but who is going to look into that? So to solve this problem, it comes like you have to try networking, you have to start building references, and you have to start building connections. So it means that whether be Twitter or anywhere that you are part of, you need to really make sure that you are building some amount of connections, because a lot of remote jobs I have seen happening is through references, through connections. So from Twitter also, if I see there are a lot of folks, they say that okay, they have got job because of these references. This person found their GitHub profile really great, this project is good, so they kind of given them a task, they did the task, and then it can kind of happen. So I think still I will be pointing things to very basic thing is about building projects, doing side hustles, contributing to open source, building connections, building true networking, true references, so that you actually, once you get this opportunity, you can make use of it. That would be my answer basically. Okay, that is good. Now I am going to get another question. Yeah, this is the question. I made some contributions in Web3 open source projects. However, don't feel like I'm solving good issues. Can you point out the type of issues I should prioritize over others? I know Java solidly. Yeah. So yeah, I think we actually touched base this one sometime back. It's like there are enough tools, starting with GitHub Explore. There are many other websites where you can actually select the projects based on the area where you want to contribute to. And once you select the project, then you can go ahead and select the type of work that you want to do, segregation of documentation issues, or the technical issues. Then on the technical issues, you can then again select whether there are good first issue that you want to get started with, or you can go to that repo directly, scan through the issues, the open issues, and see like what exactly excites you to kind of get started, and then you do it. It should be completely, if it is coming to open source, it should be driven by what you are interested in, because this is one area where nobody really catching our collar and saying that, hey, you have to fix it by end of this day. That happens in office. But in open source, it's like more about what you selected, where you want to kind of get through it, be accountable, be part of the community, and then kind of get started with this. Okay, so that's the answer for this. Thanks, Engine Boy, for this comment. Okay, there is another question. One of you need to take this. Do you think learning C++ and doing problem solving in lit code using data structure and algorithm will be a good idea for web developer? Who wants to take this up?
I would like to take this up. So the question is about the web development. So basically, like if you are preparing for web development, then I must say you should go with the JavaScript because C plus is a machine level language, and in the web development mostly you won't you won't be using the C plus. Instead, I would suggest you should go with the JavaScript and try to solve problem in that language. Yeah, so that's
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, see, the thing is like if like you're learning C++ because you're learning in your school or college somewhere, you keep learning that because that's still going to bring certain programming fundamental concept to you, and those programming fundamental concepts will be used any languages that you use in future, including JavaScript, right? So it will be helping. But as Sachin was saying, is like definitely look into JavaScript kind of stuff so that your web development journey becomes much more better. Okay, one more question. JavaScript has a number of concepts like prototype, class inheritance, these keywords. Do you use it in the real life projects? I think this is a great question. This is an awesome question. Thanks for asking this. What is your answer? Do you use these concepts in your day-to-day life in your program?
Yes,
so
I think we definitely use this. Like I have seen like class-based components and other components, we definitely use these concepts. Even if you say data structure, there are some complex things, complex logics that for that we have to use data structure also and JavaScript. And these concepts are being used over those complex tasks that we have to do. Front end is not all about designing only a web page or something. There are some functionalities also that we have to implement, and for that thing these are very much important. And I have personally used these keyword and class inheritance in my projects.
Great. Sachin, you wanted to add?
yeah, actually, we use this concept in real world project, and if you see, some of these are implicit rather than explicit, I would say. So nowadays, like in React.js, now we have functional component, but if you see implicitly, these concepts are used like prototype inheritance. There are some library that they are still on the class component and they are using the keyword. So yes, basically, answer is yes.
Okay.
These concepts.
Okay, cool. Thanks for answering that. I completely agree because these are all very basic concepts. And when there is a customer issue comes, and you have to get back to basics because you have to analyze a lot of stuff at the basic level, and some of these concepts really become helpful there. There is an interesting question. I don't know whether any of you were allowed to do this. Um, were you allowed to do during code interview? Were you allowed to Google?
No.
Okay, I don't know about the remote interviews. Pandemic times, there is a lot of interviews I've taken, which is like online. I'm not sure whether the person is typing or hearing my question. Somebody is sitting beside typing. But I think in person, we don't allow people to Google it for the direct answers. But what, at least in my experience, I have done, we give a problem to solve. So, for example, a small project you want somebody to do, or maybe I'm hiring a UX person, user experience person who has to know Photoshop and design and things like that, right? Now we give the problem statement and we put him in the similar kind of environment that he will be working when he hired, actually, who is get hired, join the company. Now, when you join the company, you definitely, won't be kind of limited to anything. You will be able to Google and search and things like the Stack Overflow and things like that. So for those kind of problem solving, those kind of designing problem, it's given a free hand. They have given the machine and things like this. So they can go to Google, they can search thing, because they are not just reading an answer of a direct question and giving. They are understanding and then trying to solve the problem that is given to them. So those cases, yes, but for the direct question answer mode, I don't think that it's allowed much.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think basically for the concept wise, like why do they think like this? Because sometimes, there are, if they give you some problem and which are based on some, really hard concept, then I think they can allow you to Google, because
Yeah,
to
possibly.
solve that problem, you have to know the concept behind it. So,
Right, right. Okay, so hey, Murtaza, so here's questions about the pair programming during interviews. Uh, any experience you guys have? Anybody? They just you want to speak if you're there?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you don't need to really get nervous about pair programming during interviews, because in almost all interviews that I had an opportunity to pair program with an interviewer, it was more like a learning and a fun experience rather than being nervous or like not able to give the answers. So think of it as interviewer as your friend, and you're both are learning together and we're solving a real world problem. So that would help you from being not being nervous. And in my experience that I got to have a pair programming in one of my interviews, I actually was not feeling quite nervous. Yes, in the beginning I did feel nervous because it was my first time having a pair programming with someone that I really did not know about. But within like a matter of a few minutes, I felt very comfortable, and it was really a nice experience. So you don't need to really be nervous or anything else with while doing pair programming in interview.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, Tejas. So we are taking now the last question. What do you think? Which is the best place to find job as a fresher for web developer? How did you guys figure out this?
so I would like to take this question. So I would say LinkedIn is the best place. There are two reasons. If you see like all that, like in the IT industry, all the people are on LinkedIn, and there you can network, and as well as there is a huge number of job opportunities, and there are like daily there are thousands of jobs opening. So I would say LinkedIn is the best platform according to the me, basically. So I
Okay.
got my first job because of the LinkedIn. So
Yeah, LinkedIn definitely a place where your hiring managers from the company or the HR people are definitely there. They are actually trying to get the resources. Tejas or Nisha, do you have any other sources that you want to share apart from LinkedIn?
I have like LinkedIn is best one, and I think Angel.co. I some of my friends got good interview calls with Angel.co, and also keep track of Twitter. Also, even Twitter, some people give like hiring developers, and some people keep on posting. I have seen that also. Like they hire for freshers, like 1 or 2 years of experience. Twitter is also a best place. Like follow some particular developer or particular like web developer channels that will help you a lot.
Okay, good. Thanks for adding that. Okay, so we have come to the end of this session, and I've taken most of the questions. And if I missed any, I'll go through it again and try to answer that on the chat. If any of you have any further questions, please post them. We'll make sure that we'll come back and add answer to that. And thanks for sticking to it. Thanks for listening. Thank you, my guest, all of you, Sachin, Nisha, Tejas, Deepak had some issues with internet. So thank you for taking your time out and sharing your knowledge, whatever you knew, sharing with all of us. It is really, really valuable for everyone, right? So in the coming session next month in January, we'll come back with something else. We might do something like a resume review. Maybe that's another thing that is in my mind is like, let's put resumes and do the review and see like how things work out, give feedback on resumes and things like that. We could do that. Or if I get some nominations on live.reactplay.io that you want to talk about, anybody listening to this video want to talk about your project, your ideas or anything that you want to chat with me, please fill it up. We'll get you on board, and it's like it will be a get fun. Most of the folks that spoke today, they told me that this is their first live. So this is their first public speaking experience. So if you want to experience your public speaking also, the floor is open. Please nominate yourself. We'll talk to you. And don't forget to start the project on GitHub, the React Play. And don't forget to check out React Play. And don't forget to, give us some, good vibes for this open source community, to join our Discord as well. So thank you, everyone. Take a good care of yourself. Good day, good night. We'll catch you soon. Bye. Bye from everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Tapas.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.